Francisco Baltazar, also known as Francisco Baltazar, was a prominent Filipino poet, and is widely considered one of the greatest Filipino literary laureates for his impact on Filipino literature. The famous epic, Florante is regarded as his defining work. The name Baltazar, sometimes misconstrued as a pen name, was a legal surname Balagtas adopted after the 1849 edict of Governor-General Narciso Claveria y Zaldua, which mandated that the native population adopt standard Spanish surnames instead of native ones. His trainer is Jose Dela Cruz, that also called Huseng Sisiw early life. Francisco Balagtas was born on April 2, 1788, in Barrio Panginay, Bigao, Bulacan, as the youngest of the four children of Juan Balagtas, a blacksmith, and Juana de la Cruz. He was baptized on April 30 that same year. He studied canon law, philosophy, Latin, and the classics in Colegio San Juan de Letran and Colegio de San Jose. He finished school in 1812. Life as a poet. Balagtas learned to write poetry from Jose Dela Cruz, one of the most famous poets of Tondo, in Return of Chicks. It was Dela Cruz himself who personally challenged Balagtas to improve his writing. Balagtas swore he would overcome Huseng Sisiw as he would not ask anything in return as a poet. In 1835, Balagtas moved to Pandacan, where he met Maria Asuncion Rivera, who would effectively serve as the muse for his future works. She is referenced in Florante as Celia and Ma. Balagtas' affections for Ma were challenged by the influential Mariano Capul. Capul won the battle for Ma when he used his wealth to get Balagtas imprisoned. It was here that he wrote Florante. In fact, the events of this poem were meant to parallel his own situation. He wrote his poems in Tagalog, during an age when Filipino writing was predominantly written in Spanish. Balagtas published Florante upon his release in 1838. He moved to Balanga, Bataan in 1840, where he served as the assistant to the Justice of the Peace. He was also appointed as the translator of the court. He married Juana Tiambang on July 22, 1842, in a ceremony officiated by Fr. Cayetano Arellano, uncle of future Philippine Supreme Court Chief Justice Cayetano Arellano. They had 11 children, but only 7 survived to adulthood. On November 21, 1849, Governor-General Narciso Claveria issued a decree that every Filipino native must adopt a Spanish surname. In 1856, he was appointed as the Major Lieutenant, but soon after was convicted and sent to prison again in Bataan under the accusation that he ordered a rich man's housemaid's head to be shaved. He was again released from prison in 1860 and continued writing poetry, along with translating Spanish documents, but 2 years later, he died on February 20, 1862, at the age of 73. Upon his deathbed, he asked a favor that none of his children become poets like him, who had suffered under his gift as well as under others. He even went as far as to tell them it would be better to cut their hands off than let them be writers. Balagtas is so greatly idolized in the Philippines that the term for Filipino debate in extemporaneous verse is named after him. Balagtasan. Legacy. An elementary school was erected in honor of Balagtas, the Francisco Balagtas Elementary School, located along Alvarez Street in Santa Cruz, Manila. There is also a plaza and park erected in Pandacan, Manila. While most of the streets were named after various Florante characters in honor of Francisco Balagtas, his birthplace, Bigao, Bulacan, was renamed to Balagtas Bulacan in honor of him. A museum, historical marker, monument and elementary school has been placed in his birthplace at Panginay, Balagtas Bulacan. A Mercurian crater was also named after him. A barangay in Arayan, Bataan was named after his surname. Works. Sources of Balagtas' work. No original manuscript in Balagtas' handwriting of any of his works has survived to the present day. This is due mainly to two great fires that razed Udyong and destroyed much of the poet's works. The most notable of his works, Florante at Laura, or Pinagdan ang Buhay ni Florante at Laura sa Claveria ng Albania, has been published in numerous editions from its original publication in 1838. The oldest extant edition of the Florante is believed to be the 1861 edition published in Manila, while a handwritten manuscript written down by Apolinario Mabini exists and is in the possession of the Philippine National Library. The major source of the poet's life and works is from a 20th-century work entitled Kung Sino ang Kumadre en Florante by Hermenegildo Cruz. The poet lists down Balagtas' works and recreates some of his plays based on scenes and lines memorized by the poet's children. The book also has an edition of the Florante. Balagtas wrote 10 comedias and 1 metrical romance according to Cruz, as well as numerous other poems and short plays that are recorded in his book. These include 2 Lausa short celebratory scenes usually involving a patron saint and performed during fiestas. Complete works. Only 3 of Balagtas' works survived complete and intact to this day. Out of the 3, Florante at Laura is considered Balagtas' defining work and is a cultural touchstone for the Philippines. Florante at Laura, a Pinagdan ang Buhay ni Florante at Laura sa Claveria ng Albania, an awit Balagtas' masterpiece, La India Elegante y el Negrito Amante, a short play in 1 part. Oras Munitafira, a comedia in 3 parts. Reconstructed, rediscovered works. Majority of the source material for Balagtas' work come from Hermenegildo Cruz' book, which itself is based on the surviving testimonies and memories of Balagtas' children at the turn of the century. In his book, he reconstructs 5 plays, the most notable and most complete of which is Oras Munitafira. Oras Munitafira, a comedia in 4 parts. Rodolfo at Rosamonda, Nudo Gordiano, Abdul at Misrianan, a comedia, staged in a Barque in 1857. Biasetto at Dorlica, a comedia in 3 parts, staged at Udyong on September 27, 1857. Minor works. As a folk poet and employee of the courts, Balagtas' prowess in writing was mainly seen in the yearly fiestas held in nearby towns. A great majority of his plays may have been staged in outdoor theatres set up in town square, and as a poet, a number of his works and writings have been recorded in collections of poetry such as the Colección de Refranes, Phrases y Modismos Tagalos, as well as in the accounts of Spanish officials such as Martínez de Zúñiga, who recorded traditional plays and religious events in Philippine fiestas. Balagtas also wrote in the Ladino style of poems that were popular among his contemporaries. He is said to have written 2 loas recorded in Cruz's book, as well as numerous Ladinos and didactic works. Loas in praise of the Archangel Michael, a low written for the patron saint of the town of Udyong, in celebration of the crowning of Queen Isabella II of the Bourbon dynasty, celebrating the ascension of Isabella II to the Spanish throne. Minor poems. A number of minor poems are recorded in Cruz's book. Pangaral sa isang binibining a Carcastle, a didactic work. Palam nasa iyo, a bilingual poem written in Ladino style. Lost works. 5 of the 10 recorded plays Balagtas wrote considered lost. Another work, Claus, a translation work from a Latin, is considered lost for Cruz does not mention any fragments or elaborates on it in his book. Among his other lost works, one should consider plays and short poems written by Balagtas in his lifetime for fiestas and celebrations as well as to earn his living. Don Nuno at Cilinderola Desgracia del Amor en la Inocencia, a comedia in 3 parts. Oridato at Astrom, a comedia in 3 parts. Clara Belmore, a comedia in 3 parts. Almanzor at Rosilinda, a comedia staged at Udjong during the town's feast. Muhammad at Constanza, Claus.